Hey, good morning, fifth grade. Mrs. Masson coming at you from my home office. We're going to do some grammar today. We're going to go over the pages that you were assigned last week, and we are going to move on. All right. So today, the lesson was double negatives and contractions, which hopefully was sort of a review for you. And then we're going to move on to some irregular verbs and some confusing verbs, which might be a little bit harder, but we'll see. So, ooh, look, I got some flyaways. It's kind of funny how I don't notice these things in my mirror, but I notice these things in the video. All right, there we go. A little bit better. Got some glare today from the lamp. Maybe if I turn that off, is that a little bit better? I think it is. I think that's a little bit better. It's kind of bright outside today, even though it's supposed to rain, but it's not. It's bright. Okay. All right. So get out your grammar workbooks, your pages 93 and 94. And we went over 93 together. The biggest thing is the double negatives, keeping in mind that two negatives make a positive. It's the same as math. So when you're speaking, in order to be clear, you can't use two negatives together, or you shouldn't anyways. Authors sometimes do that to prove a point or to make a person kind of look dumb, but you don't want to. So we're fixing them. So page 93, number 1, you were choosing I'm, the I apostrophe M. Number 2, we were choosing we're, the W-E apostrophe E-R. And then number 3, you could say there was not any milk left, there wasn't any milk left, or there was no milk left. So these things, there are multiple ways to do it. So let's look at the pages that you guys actually had for homework. All right, so this is page 94 in your English workbook, and I keep bumping my desk. I'm having technical difficulties today. I don't know. All right, so independent practice. First, you're choosing the correct contraction. Now, there aren't very many problems with this because they're assuming, questions with contractions because we're thinking that you should know contractions by now. So, number 1, the Eagles won't be playing this week. And number 2, they've won 4 times this season. Now, this is a little bit harder. 3, 4, 5, and 6. There isn't no more time left in the game could be. Here's your options. There isn't any time left in the game. There is not any more time left in the game. There is no more time left in the game. Any of those would be acceptable as long as you fixed the double negative and it still means the same thing, which basically means the game's over. Number 4, we don't have no tickets to the championship. Even just reading them out loud kind of hurts my ears. You could say we don't have any tickets. We do not have any, or we have no tickets to the championship. Number 5, Peter doesn't never like to eat green beans. You would say Peter doesn't like to eat green beans. Peter does not like to eat green beans. Peter doesn't ever eat green beans, or you could even say that Peter never likes to eat green beans. So any of those would be correct. Number 6, Molly doesn't know nobody in the room. You could say Molly doesn't know anybody, Molly does not know anybody, or Molly knows nobody, which I don't really like that one, but it would work. It's still correct. All right, next you're underlining 5 contractions. So in the first sentence, you have the Stanley Cup's National Hockey League. It's cups. You should have underlined cups, and you're going to separate it on number 7 to be cup is. Then your next one is clear down in the second paragraph. Many teams haven't reached their goal yet. So haven't is your second contraction. That's number 8. And you're going to separate it in a line to make have not. Number 9 is won't, but they won't quit their attempt to win it, which you're going to separate into will not. Then number 10, I've seen a replica. I have, you're going to separate that and make it I have on number 10. And then 11 is it's an amazing trophy. You're going to underline it's, and you should be separating that into it is. So that is your work for page 94. So now let's look at these confusing words on page 95. Sorry, I'm drinking some coffee. Okay. All right, now on page 95, we're talking about some confusing words. And these are words that people mix up commonly, often. In fact, I see it on Facebook all the time. You'll see it in books. When you talk to people, you'll see this. So it's important for us to learn these words and how they work, and so that you can use them properly. So the first two commonly confused, and they generally go kind of in pairs. You have teach and learn. Now, a lot of these, the mistakes, a lot of these words, the mistake has to do with who's receiving the action and what's doing or giving the action. So when you're teaching, that means to give instruction. So I am teaching you. So that the past tense is taught. My aunt teaches fifth grade. I am teaching you grammar. Teach is to give the instruction. Now, learn is to receive the instruction. Sometimes you have people say something like, she learned me how to do this. Well, no, then she taught you. You are learning right now how to use teach and learn properly. Learning is to receive the instruction. So I learn something new each day is what it says. Now we have rise and raise. Now this is another one. Rise is to go upward. You're doing it on your own power. This is the action of going up. So you would, and then the past tense is rose, then you have risen. So we say Jesus has risen. Jesus rose from the dead. The sun rises every morning. Please rise from your chairs. We're going to get up from our chairs and stand up. Raise, on the other hand, is when you're causing something to go upward. So this means that the thing isn't going up on its own. You're doing it. And then that would be, we raise the flag every morning. I raised my hand. My hand didn't rise itself. I raised it up. So that's the difference between rise and raise. Then we have sit and set. And this is the same sort of thing. Sit is done in your own power. You sit in a chair. The cat sits in a box. I sit in the back row. Please sit down. And then of course the past tense is sat. But then set is when is something that is being placed or put down. So I set my cup on the table. You set the table. I set the book on the table. So you use sit when something is doing it on its own. Set is when I do it. So the cat sits in the box, but I picked the cat up and set it on the floor. Okay, so there's a difference between it, and it has to do with who's doing the action or who is receiving the action. Excuse me. Let and leave. Let is to allow something. I let my dog into the house. I let you use my pencil. I allowed it. Now to leave is to allow to remain. Now leave can also be to just go. So you could leave the house. You went. But in this case, they're talking about when you allow something to remain. So I leave my dog outside. Maybe the cat sat in the box and I left it there. I'm gonna let the cat stay in the box now. So that's the difference between that. Now leave, again, like I said, can also mean to like just go. It could be like somebody has left the building. Elvis has left the building. But that's a different type of leave, but it's still leave. So it might be like, I would like to leave my coat on, my sweater on when I come in the house because I'm cold. So that's leave. I'm going to let it stay. Lie and lay, again, very similar to sit and set and raise and rise, in that it depends on who is doing the action. Is the action being done on that object's power, or is something causing it to do this? So lie is to recline. Lay or lane. Lane is hard. A lot of people have a hard time with that because it doesn't sound right. But that's what it is. He has lain down for a nap. She will lie down to take a nap. I lie down on my bed. The cat lies down on my computer when I'm trying to work. That is something doing itself. Now, lay is when you're putting something down. So you lay the baby down. The baby doesn't lie itself down for a nap. I lay the baby down in its crib. I lay the keys on the bookshelf. So that's the difference between that. It depends on who's doing the action. If the object itself is doing the lying, then it's lie. If something is putting it down, it's the same as set. It would be lay. Then we have can and may. Now, I know that probably every single one of you have asked somebody for permission for something and gotten that smart alecky mark. I don't know. Can you? Because you'll say, can I use the bathroom? And they'll say, I don't know. Can you? And what they really want is for you to say may. And this is something that is so commonly messed up in English language that I'm really kind of surprised it's still a rule. I feel like at some point they're just going to abolish this rule altogether because no one gets it right. Well, almost no one. Anyways, can means that you're able to do something. So, of course, you can go to the bathroom. You've been able to use the potty since you were like 3 years old, probably. So, and your body functions perfectly normally. So, you can use the restroom. But then may is to be allowed it or permitted. So, if you say, so you may not be allowed to use the restroom, especially if it's in the middle of a test. You have to wait. You got to hold it, right? Here it says Joshua can run a mile. So he's able to. He's able to run a mile. Selah may borrow my eraser. You know, I give her permission to borrow my eraser. So if you say, can I go to my friend's house? Are you able to? Could you get there? Could you walk there? I mean, yes. But may you? That's different. Do you have permission to go? I don't know. You might not be able to get to your friend's house yourself. It might be too far away. But anyways. So that's the difference between can and may, and that's a common mistake. So can is permission, can is ability, sorry. Can is the ability, may is the permission. And that's why you get those remarks from teachers when you ask if you can do something. Can I borrow a pencil? Can I use your pencil? Well, you probably could use the pencil. Your fingers work, you know how to write, but may you borrow a pencil? That's the question. Are you allowed to? So, all right, let's look at the guide of practice on page 95. So here they want you to underline twice the correct verbs. So you have to think about what's going on in the sentence so you can pick the right word. So Mary blank rejoice at the news from the angel. She can rejoice at the news. So she did. She's able. She's perfectly able to rejoice at news. She didn't have to ask permission to rejoice. Can. So underline can twice. Number 2, she saw the angel sitting or setting on the rock. Now, an angel is its own being. It does this on its own. It sat itself down. Nobody put it there. Well, maybe God said, go here. But he didn't actually physically take the angel and sit it on the rock. Set it on the rock. So it's sitting. She saw the angel sitting on the rock. So underline that. Number 3, Jesus rose or raised from the dead. Now, did Jesus do this on his own power? Of course, God helped him, but Jesus is part of the Lord. So, yes, it's rose, which is the past tense form of rise. This happened on his own power. Nobody picked him up. He did this on his own. God raised him from the grave. So now we're talking about God causing Jesus to be awakened from death. So now we're going to say raised. God raised him from the grave. Okay. All right. So on the next page, you're doing the same thing. Page 96, 1 through 12 is the same thing. You're just picking the correct verb. Now feel free to go back to your chart on the other side. You're allowed to check back on those charts anytime you need to. And then 13, 14, 15, and 16, you are going to write the proper form of the verb in there. And then for the apply and write, I want you to actually choose one of those pairs of words that commonly get mixed up with each other and write sentences in which you use them correctly. Okay? And then we'll go over those next time I see you. Have a wonderful day. Bye, 5th grade.